Thank you for tuning in to my Monastic Musings channel. In the 2 weeks after I posted my last video, The Battle Lines Are Being Drawn, an historic event took place in the White House which underscored one of the points I was trying to make in my previously posted cautionary tale. I am referring to the long-expected breakup between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, which monopolized our attention and inspired commentary from pundits and late-night comedians for several days. Associating this event with my previous video probably is not obvious to most viewers, but it is very clear to me. Everything Donald Trump touches dies, says Lincoln Project founder Rick Wilson. Trump's failed businesses, including casinos, his relationships, and his near destruction of the U.S. government, now for a second time, certainly supports this assertion. Elon was useful to Trump so long as the Musk money served to get him into the White House. But now that he is in power, Trump no longer has use for Musk, so he gets thrown under the bus along with the many former Trump supporters and sycophants who grew tired of bending the knee. The same scenario has played out over and over again in the life of Donald Trump and in both his presidential administrations. The list of former admirers and associates of this very troubled sociopathic narcissist grows larger month to month. Yet, there never ceases to be a shortage of people willing to climb onto the Trump coattails in hopes of gaining access to power and relevance in this administration. The original inspiration from my previous video was the election of Pope Leo XIV, whose consistency in upholding the rights and dignity of the migrant, the poor, the marginalized, and the working man or woman stands in stark contrast to the atrocities of the Trump administration. I was struck by how proudly my own Archbishop, Salvatore Corleone, announced his appointment as an advisor to the President's Religious Liberty Commission. I warned that getting involved with the Trump regime and mingling with his many prosperity gospel evangelical friends will be detrimental to religious liberty because Trump is hard at work at either eliminating or subverting agencies and institutions in an aggressive effort to bring them all under his control. The only religion Trump confesses is the one in which he reigns supreme. God is just an annoying detail. The Elon-Donald split represents another reality which will soon reveal itself as the Religious Liberty Commission ages. The excommunication and persecution of any religious leader who dares to advise the president in a way that translates into disloyalty to Pope Donald. The Franklin Grahams and Dana Whites
strike and 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 strike
will probably hang in there longer because their undivided worship of the president has been unwavering and appropriately sycophantic. But Catholic prelates who are supposed to answer to a pope who regularly condemns the actions of the White House may not fare so well. We have already begun to see a rift between Trump and Leonard Leo of the Federalist Society, who is a fiercely MAGA Catholic and a member of the most fascist Opus Dei cult. Trump recently referred to Leo as a sleazebag when his hand-picked Supreme Court justices struck down Trump's excessive tariffs. Trump's bestie, Cardinal Dolan, appointed to the president's Religious Liberty Board, has also received heat from the president after his eminence expressed mild disappointment when the White House posted the blasphemous AI image of Trump dressed as the Pope. So far, fellow board member Bishop Robert Barron and advisory board member Archbishop Salvatore Corleone have been silent about the image and the many atrocities Trump has initiated over the past 100+ days. But that cannot last forever. Several years ago, I was lambasted on Twitter for predicting that once the MAGA evangelicals come into power, Catholics would be among the first group of loyalists to be thrown under the bus. This brand of evangelicals hate Catholics as much as they idolize Trump. They weaponize the abortion issue to attract the financial support of wealthy Catholic donors and compliant bishops into their fold. Now that they have the power, the Catholic presence is no longer of use to them. Prosperity gospel evangelicals are notorious grifters, corrupted by the obscenity of wealth and the thirst for power. They are everything Trump admires. Catholic prelates do not have that level of wealth. As much as I am not a fan of Archbishop Corleone, I have to admit that the man does not live high off the hog. I have been at his residence, which is a former convent attached to the cathedral. It is very nice, but not opulent. When he first arrived at San Francisco, he accepted for his own use the same vehicle driven by his two predecessors. His want of support from Tim Bush and the Napa Institute is to fund his pet projects like the Benedict XVI Institute and to promote his efforts in converting the local seminary and the archdiocese into what I call his Avignon by the Bay, a schismatic safe haven for the pre-Vatican II liturgy, and a 1950s-style mindset. His alignment with Trump's religious liberty project is to guarantee the Archbishop freedom from prosecution should he fire any teacher or other employee that decides to marry his or her same-sex partner, or expel any student who comes out as LGBTQ. But should any U.S. Catholic bishop dare to condemn Trump for starving children by ending USAID, or for his atrocities against brown-skinned migrants currently underway in Los Angeles, that prelate will be tossed out of the group. Perhaps it is best that Dolan, Barron, and Corleone bear the brunt of the persecution by joining than being shunned by the religious liberty group. The rest of us who have kept our distance may fare better. In closing, I want to bring up something that has greatly disturbed me about the unhealthy alliance between certain U.S. Catholic prelates, including my own Archbishop, and the MAGA movement in this country. The nightmare which was the COVID pandemic that characterized most of 2020 and stretched into early 2021 is probably still fresh in the minds of many people. The great fear which the pandemic generated as government agencies aggressively addressed the disease against political pushback coming out of the Trump administration is unlikely to be forgotten. Within 2 years, more than 1 million Americans passed away from COVID complications. More than 1 million families lost loved ones and were unable to hold proper funeral rites and observances. While this was happening, U.S. bishops, including my own Archbishop, focused their attention on protesting restrictions placed on gatherings for worship. Pope Francis early on led a televised prayer service in the Vatican for those suffering from the disease. The same Pope encouraged Catholics, out of charity, to get the vaccine and cooperate with government agencies by following recommended protocols designed to mitigate the spread of the disease. In contrast, San Francisco Archbishop Corleone chose to lead public protests against government restrictions, processing throughout the city with the Blessed Sacrament in a monstrance. The same Archbishop bragged that he was not going to take the vaccine, claiming that his doctor had declared him unusually immune to such infections. To my knowledge, there has never been any public expression of condolence from the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops towards the millions of people who lost parents, grandparents, children, and other loved ones in the pandemic. This pastoral negligence tied to the soullessness that characterizes MAGA politics and MAGA Catholicism will forever remain a great stain on the legacy of 21st century Catholicism in the United States. Thank you for watching. Peace be with you.